So when Pluto goes above the horizon, the blocks and fears are social. I don't fit in anywhere. I'm going to run into gangs. I'm going to run into bullies. I was a small kid. I have Pluto in the 12th. I was a small kid. I always ran up to bullies. I get beat up at home. If a teacher strapped me, I get strapped at school. I get beat up at home from being strapped. And if there were any gangs or bullies, they'd be picking on me. I had to fight, run and hide to get to school to get past all these bullies, these bigger kids. And whenever I didn't, I'd come home bleeding and black-eyed and stuff. So how come? I just put it down, well, that was that era, that was one of us coming, but everybody has these things in some form or another. So everyone's got Pluto. How extreme, how much, you come to know some of this in the chart. It should not be given as much importance as radiating in love and being confident and expressing yourself and making good choices in that. But it's a challenge for those things when you don't get what you want, when those, it's outer things happening, coming, that we're running into in our life. Okay, so that was why I was late. That was my alarm to wake up 10 minutes before the class, and it was set an hour late. So it's not Mercury retrograde yet, but for me, a little bit started. Anyways, so reality check. So when Pluto is above the horizon and functional, you have blocks and fears about marriage, about sharing resources, about different beliefs. You can be fanatical in one belief, a fear of another belief. You can have a fear of career or have to be in control business-wise, or be afraid of control. You can have fear of friends or peer pressure. You can have fear of not fitting in, of being isolated, of not fitting in. So that's mine, who the Pluto in the 12th is. I have a fear. I project something out. I'm expecting to get hit. I'm expecting somebody to attack me. It's like, I got to know what I'm doing right well before I put anything out. And then I'm going out, I'm being really serious. Someone says, hey, how's it going? What's happening? And I have to get out of my modes and just, whoa, clear that. But there were many years when I didn't. And I was an angry young kid. Of course, who wants to be around an angry anything? So, but that power struggle coming with people in positions of power, people doing things right, like I've sat in Pluto together, but in the 12th, but Pluto, I've never had a principal or a teacher. Well, I had a couple of good teachers, but everyone was always strict and always intimidating and confrontational. I never had a friendly teacher. It was certainly, power was used. So I would never go to a teacher to ask for help. They were more the threat. Now here I'm a teacher, I'm a consultant, but it's like somehow in there, I had to spend a lot of time alone and meditating and things to find that and get past that. This nerve still hits. And then I recognize it, I know how to deal with it. But this Pluto above, when there's actual blocks outwardly, and there's really, somebody's really doing something to you, or there's a block, that's the fear and phobia can come into that. But when it's subjective, it's inside yourself, and it's something in you that you think you've done something wrong, and you're making this happened to you. It's nothing to do with outside, but because it's happening inside, you have the fear of going outside. So you pull into yourself more. So we're dealing with a subtle nerve of fear and confrontation and how it comes up in a chart. So you have your horoscope, you have your house. It's all, there's just one stupid little outer planet so far away, and it happens to be in this house for you. Wow, it explains a lot, but you don't have to make it the be all and end all. You have to work around it. You have to be truthful about it. And sometimes your truth isn't acceptable to other people's truth. Whoa, happens so many different ways. But there's a disassociation that goes with Pluto, or being threatened or disassociating. And it takes one, it has a fear or a phobia or anxiety that can come into it, that when it gets acute, in situations where there are phobias or psychotic breakdowns or things, Pluto's in, the person has a relationship to Pluto and it's activating in their chart at some point, and they're going to have real life and death challenges because until they break through this or deal with it. In the end, if you have an understanding of God, even if one of your kids dies, you can say, how could this happen? What did I do wrong? What's wrong? At the same time, you say, okay, there's an inner point that is something beyond that. Once it's happened, what do? You can sit there and be mad the rest of your life or not, or help other people with those problems. So this is the element of where most people working with people in problems, with fears, have been there. They've had those fears, and that's how they know how to work with people and help people who've had them, who are dealing with them. Okay. You can't define this. All you can do is go over it and talking around it, and you're going to think, you look at your chart and you're saying, it seems pretty extreme to be talking about this one nerve. You don't accentuate it that much, you just notice it there. But when we get to the aspects, you'll see when it really pointedly comes in and affects different levels of functioning in our chart. But here we're seeing it in a house, and certain affairs of that house will not come easy. There'll be blocks, there'll be fears, there'll be power struggles around whatever house Pluto's in. So I know we're just dealing with the phases, but if Pluto is right on an angle, rising or setting or on the midheaven or the ice, right on the angle, it becomes really more powerful, and you really see it in the person's, it crystallizes much stronger on a person's behavior if it's right on an angle. We'll get to that more with the aspects again. But right now, we're looking at the phases, the different areas. They're all there. We're in. And she's like, I got Pluto there. You know, like, of course I got Pluto there. Where else would it be? You know, when it's yours, you see it. You see it. So now we got it in the 4 quadrants. So if it's subjective or below the horizon, you got the interpersonal fears or the subjective blocks. I'm not good enough. I could never do this. Or like, are you afraid of singing or not singing or whatever? Like, singing is a good example. Often people with blocks are afraid of singing. Not everybody. Like, Pluto can give you control or it can give you fear. It can go either way. But you can't half sing. You're either singing or you're not singing. You can't go, you have to go, and you put it out there. You can be singing. For me, it's, with my frog voice, it's probably just yelling in any case, but that's still singing for me. Okay. So when it's below the horizon, the subjective side, it divides into 2 areas: subjectively rising, the intuitive side, or subjectively setting, the feeling side. So if Pluto's on the rising side, subjectively, you have personal blocks that you're going to push at, that because this happened to you, because you're motivated, because this happened to me, I'm coming from this home, and I had these fights with brothers and sisters, or sibling rivalry, or nobody was honest, Pluto in the 2nd house, or because there was no money, or it was very harshly controlled, or whatever, and I was never allowed to get things I wanted, or because I just wasn't wanted, and I was always treated harshly, you know, like I didn't fit in anywhere out of my own family. That's a subjective projection of fear. I can't do this. I'm not going to relate. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do. It tends to block within oneself. And of course, then it forces you to have to develop strength in the areas where you're afraid. You have to, if you have the fear, you have to go into it and fix it, face it, deal with it, and then come out strong through it. So 3rd house, you might be afraid of other people's thinking and stuff, think you don't know enough, you've been put down about thinking. But subjectively, you have to go find teachers who think you're prejudiced or they don't want to teach, but you have to go find the teachers to get the knowledge to free you from this deep situation. Astrology is really useful in these areas. Money, well, if you're afraid of money, you have to go make money, and what are you going to do for it? You might take it to extremes. If you take it to extremes, sooner or later, if you're dishonest in how you get money or doing it harshly, it's going to come back at you. Suppose your partner or your father was in the mafia and making money off of everybody else's in a bad way, but you're surviving and thriving off of it. There's a Pluto in the 2nd house. Could be other factors too, but Pluto in the 1st house is your own image. You're afraid of your own image. and you hold it together much stronger, more harshly than most people. So it's hard to be smiling. Usually there's just a hi. You're not going to project that. You're projecting it's going to have a block on it. And it'll be a little intimidating to others because it's not just an innocent projection. There's a harshness there, and there's a reason for it. But again, Pluto is there. If it's below the horizon, you've got to you're pushing something out. You're going to see you're pushing, and these blocks are there. You're going to know it's there. At some point, if you want to meet other people, you're going to have to learn how to use that in a way that's not blocking or alienating other people. So some of the smartest people with the greatest degrees, they still have trouble finding jobs. They're driving a cab or something because they have trouble going to interviews or have these blocks. Subjective. If it's setting, you're taking the feelings in. Something bad happens, something difficult happened, I can't let anyone know, I can't do it, I can never, if you did that, I can never do this, I can't dance, you put me down, you said something, oh, it hit this nerve, I can never do this. So you're taking it in, and this fear is going in, and it's affecting your motivation. If you're living, I'm afraid of this, that's why I can't do anything, so I can't do anything. It's going down affecting your motivation, and then you really have the battle. Like the fear, it's resolved by truth. The truth is, you could look at life as just a dog eat dog food world. It's just a harsh reality. You're born, you live a little bit, then you die, and that's it. An atheistic view. But really, the truth that balances Pluto, is there a God or isn't there? Is there a spiritual side or not? And if there's a spiritual side, there's a way of understanding, how come I got the Pluto? If not, it's just a sentence that you got this lifetime. No fair. No, other people don't have it, but you're like, it's my cross to bear. When you're caring for someone that's had something difficult happen and they're feeling there's something wrong with them, or they had a difficult experience socially and it pulled them into themselves where I don't feel good, I can't do anything, and you're trying to be with someone, it's like you're caring for them more than they care for themselves, and you're having to fight that fear, and you feel the block in a person, and huge anxiety complexes come up and can be dealt with too.